If you want to speak and understand more, you'll need to know more words. So, today, you'll discover 5 ways to master vocabulary fast. But first, if you don't yet have access to our language learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. Before we jump into how, just know that when you learn more words, you pretty much improve everything: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So it's important to always be learning new words across a range of topics so that you can speak fluently in all situations. If you haven't done so already, come up with a specific number of words you'd like to master a month and make that your monthly goal, like 30, 50, or even 100 words a month. Now, let's get to the tips. First, use spaced repetition flashcards. Flashcards are the most popular way to learn, review, and master new words. And more specifically, spaced repetition flashcards. That's because they have a proven learning method built in: spaced repetition. Spaced repetition simply means you repeat what you've learned over a spaced period of time because that's the best way to retain things. Meaning, if you learn a word on day 1, you see it again in 2 days, then in 4 days, in 8 days, and so on. The learning is spaced out over time, and the continued repetition helps push the word into your long-term memory so you never forget it. And that's exactly what our spaced repetition flashcards do for you. You'll find them in the vocabulary menu on the site. There, you can study the 100 core vocabulary, vocabulary from the lessons, or our 2000 core vocabulary list. Second, immerse yourself in conversations and conversation lessons. Another powerful way to pick up new words and phrases is to immerse yourself in the language. That way, you'll always pick up new words. And on top of that, you'll learn the words in the context of everyday conversations, instead of learning them one by one. So, if you're taking the lessons inside our system, in every lesson, you hear a conversation between native speakers. Then our teachers slow it down, explain every word and grammar rule so that you understand it all. And that conversation is repeated 3 times in total, so you remember it better. So you're not just listening to language that's way above your level and not understanding. You grow to understand it because everything is explained right after. You can also listen to the dialogue tracks that give you just the conversation of that lesson without the translations, so you can immerse yourself and just listen. This is one of the best ways to expose yourself to conversation. Actually understand them, even if you don't understand anything at first, and reinforce all the words you've learned. On top of the lessons, you can also immerse yourself in the target language by watching TV shows and listening to music. But unlike the lessons, you won't get the language explained, and this approach may be too hard for beginners. But if you're at an upper intermediate level, or above where you can learn through context and understand most of it, then this method can work just as well. Third, read every day. How often do you read in your target language? Reading is another way you can immerse yourself in the language and boost your vocabulary, because you'll always come across new words. But what should you read? And how do you find easy material for your level? Because what's the point if it's too hard for you? With our program, you can find extensive reading books inside the lesson library. These are quick and easy books from absolute beginner level up to intermediate that you can finish in a few minutes. And extensive reading is simply a strategy where you read and finish as many books as possible. At the absolute beginner level, these are simple 1 or 2 sentence per page books, making it easy for you to read through and pick up new words. Another way to memorize words fast is by learning songs in your target language. You can make a monthly goal to memorize 1 to 3 songs you like in your target language. Just search for the lyrics to a song you like, and as you listen to the song, read the lyrics. This can help you connect the sounds you're hearing with the characters or the letters you're reading. Remember, the key is to find a fun way to read every day. This will help you improve your vocabulary. Fourth, get quizzed on vocabulary regularly. I know, no one likes quizzes and tests after experiencing them in school, but getting tested on what you've learned is actually one of the best ways to remember what you learn and improve your memory. This is a proven learning method called active recall. All it means is when you try to remember something, you actually start to remember it better. So, if you're trying to remember the meaning of a word on a test, that's when your memory gets stronger. That's when you're flexing your brain muscles, or rather, neurons. So, how can you do it? If you're using the flashcards that I mentioned earlier, flashcards do that for you. They test you on the meanings of the words. You can flip the card over to see if you got the word correct or not. So, be sure to use flashcards. Next, if you're taking the lessons and following the learning pathway in our program, you'll automatically get tested after every few lessons. Just follow the pathway, take the lessons, and testing is done for you. You'll get multiple choice assessments after every few lessons that test you on the words and grammar you learned. That way, you won't forget what you've learned as you make your way down the pathway. Fifth, get new vocabulary and phrases sent to you automatically, the lazy way to learn words. So far, all of the methods mentioned are extremely powerful at helping you learn new words. But they all require work. And if you're lazy, busy, or just new to language learning, chances are there will be days when you won't want to drill flashcards or read. And that's a problem, because language learning needs to become an automatic habit. And if you're not doing it automatically, without thinking, you'll forever struggle with trying to learn. The good news is that you can get new words and phrases sent to you automatically every day, so that you don't have to lift a finger and boost your vocabulary in the process. And you can do that with our free Word of the Day service, where every day we email you a new word along with sample sentences. This is the easiest and the laziest way to boost your vocabulary, and it takes less than a minute, because all you have to do is glance at the word and you're done. But the best part is you automatically get new words every single day, so that your vocabulary is always improving. The system is automatic. All you have to do is join it. And as a side bonus, it helps you create a language learning habit because you're automatically learning new words. On top of that, you'll also get timely vocab and phrase lists every week via email. If it's wintertime, you'll get winter-related words and phrases. If Halloween is coming up, you'll get words for Halloween. It's that simple. Again, all of this is done and sent automatically if you're a member. That way, you don't have to go chasing down material or trying to figure out what to do and how to learn. So, to recap, use flashcards. Immerse yourself in conversations and conversation lessons. Read every day. Get quizzed on vocabulary regularly. Get new words sent to you automatically. These tips are fun and effective ways to help you reach your vocabulary goals a bit faster. So, if you want to learn the language and get access to these learning tools and our learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account.
Wait! Before we start, do you want a bundle of 30 printable Italian PDF cheat sheets? Teaching you words and phrases for conversations for free? Then click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get access.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ItalianPod101.com. My name is Daisy, mi chiamo Daisy, and today we're gonna talk about the working culture in Italy. La cultura del lavoro. La cultura del lavoro. Cultura, culture, and lavoro, job work in general. Lavorare is the verb to work. Lavoro is the noun. Let's start with the typical working hours that go from 9 to 6 p.m. with 1 hour break in between. That hour break is usually from 1 to 2 p.m. because then you divide it 4 hours and 4 hours, right? And you have the lunch in between. La pausa pranzo. Pausa pranzo. Lunch break. Pausa pranzo is really important here, of course, because everything that has to do with food is important. So you usually have a whole hour or even more, but then people are not too happy about that because they have to go home later. So 1 hour is usually what you get. And you can either, okay, so if it's a big company, you have the mensa, so the cafeteria. So you can eat there because they have to provide for a lot of people, right? Otherwise, if it's smaller, they may even give you ticket pranzo, il ticket del pranzo. Pranzo is lunch. So the lunch ticket, it's basically like a prepaid card. It's not a card, it's just really a ticket with a barcode, and you can use it at places they have some partnership with, or even some grocery stores have them. So you can also bring your own food and then use them to buy other stuff. That's also something that is allowed. It's just like a benefit that the company gives you. If you do not have one or the other, which depends, by the way, on the amount of employees that you have, because then you have to provide for either the mensa or the lunch ticket. If it's a smaller company even, you usually have, if you're lucky, a fridge, un frigorifero, and un microwave, un microonde, that you can use at your own convenience. Mind you that if it's a lot of you, you may want to discuss terms on that. And then you have a specific space if the place allows, like you have a specific spot where you can eat, or you just eat at your desk. But of course, you're free to go out. You have a full hour break, so you go in places around your office. And in fact, restaurants often have the menu pranzo, the menu for lunch, which is already made. Like you can just choose 1 or 2 options, but anyway, it's already set and for a fixed price. Also, nowadays, a lot of people do the takeout or the delivery anyway, so you can even have it delivered at your office, but that's not something that it's, let's say, organized by the administration. It's more like on groups of colleagues that decide on what to do, or even the single one. Otherwise, you just go to a bar. Mind you, bar is the one where you find coffee and other stuff, not only for alcohol, okay? And you get a panini, so a sandwich, un panino. So yeah, it really depends on the places, but usually that's something really valued, la pausa pranzo. Speaking of hours, usually they're not really flexible. Also, because in Italy, you have to divide, like everywhere else, I suppose, like public offices and private ones. The public ones are even less, I would say, flexible in times because they have to provide a service to the public, right? Private ones may be a bit more flexible, but in general, they want to stick to this time. Also because everyone else is doing that. So if you don't do that, then it's hard if you have to communicate with some partners that you have, or if you have to talk to someone that is doing that thing, right? So you want to keep it from 1 to 2. And in general, also other times, like from 9 to 6, some may have a flexible entrance window. So maybe from 8 to 9-ish. And then you do 8 hours and you go home, depending on when you got there. But not a lot of them, because they want to keep it kind of standard, so it's easier. Also, like to prevent people complaining about other people and stuff like that. So, as I was mentioning, we have I lavoratori pubblici, public workers, lavoratori pubblici, or privati, private, privati. When we talk about companies, we say compagnia, compagnia, or azienda, azienda, but that gives me the idea of big numbers. If I say ditta, ditta, that's also company, but like a smaller one, because I always think ditta familiare, family business, ditta familiare. Or also agency, like agenzia. That's also something that makes you think about smaller numbers, agenzia. But no matter what they are, they do have one capo, the CEO. Can be il direttore, il presidente, so director, president. It's still what we would call capo, like with our colleagues, we would say il capo ha detto che, the boss said that. Legally, it's called datore di lavoro, so the one that gives the work, so the one that gives the job, the work. Datore di lavoro. While people that work in the company are usually la segretaria, secretary, segretaria, or amministrazione, administration in general. Then we have the dirigenti, so like managers, people that decide what happens on behalf of the CEO. Legally, we also have the quadri, which means squares, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's more like supervisor, that's the level they're on. And then we go to employees in general, so impiegati, un impiegato, un'impiegata, due impiegati, or operai, like manual work, while impiegati, it's more like office work. And then we also have the tirocinante, or the one that has the tirocinio, so the internship. Sometimes paid very little or not even paid, unfortunately. All these roles are divided into settori, so settori, departments, like il settore commerciale, the sales one, commercial one, il settore amministrativo, administrative ones, and so on. It really depends on the reality of the company. Now, relationships between department and colleagues in general, between I colleghi, le relazioni tra colleghi, relationships between colleagues are always tricky, right? No matter where you go, here too. Again, it depends, like case by case. But in general, I would say that people tend to spend a lot of time with their colleagues, also because of the lunch break, or maybe they have to do trasferte, work trips together, and that's what makes them become closer, right? Because you spend a lot of time with them, especially if you do overtimes, straordinari, because it's something extraordinary, not because it's good or something that people really like, but because it's out of the ordinary of the normal time, so straordinari. Again, this really depends on the organization of the company, because if it's a ditta, so familiare, it's common for people to be closer because it's not so many people, so you get to know each other and maybe you also do like parties together. But if it's a bigger one, then maybe the human resource may organize some aperitivo, so that people mingle a bit and get to know each other. Especially nowadays, if some people are still working remotely, it's nice for them to have a chance to meet. I would say that in general, people try not to exaggerate, like to keep it a bit divided between having fun together, having dinner. Like that happens maybe for Christmas or summer, but not so many times, even though, again, it depends on the personal relationship also that you have with your colleagues. But people should not exaggerate in order to keep the work-life balance, right? Side note, in some places it doesn't happen, and that's also why I quit some of them. But anyway, that being said, work-life balance, it's still to be figured out, let's say, because a full-time job has 40 hours per week, quindi 40 ore alla settimana. And then you have to add straordinari if you need to. Straordinari are usually paid, but you have to do a minimum amount of time, like in order for it to be recognized, like let's say 15 or 20 minutes minimum, and then it goes on. So if you just stay like 10, 15 minutes more, that doesn't count. Or some places give you like more money in advance, like let's say every month in the salary already, it's a forfait, because they know that sometimes you may have to stay there. At that point, you cannot refuse, right? But yeah, again, it really depends. Also because there are also some companies that expect you to stay without even paying. So yeah, depends where you're working. You do get days off, quindi giorni di riposo, but also permessi. It's a work permit, not that you have the permission to work, but that you have the permission to leave. It's usually around 100 and something hours per year. If you need to get like, let's say 2 hours off to go to have a visit or something. And that's different from the holidays, which are supposed to be 2 weeks, quindi 2 settimane consecutively. So you have to put them together. So you have a break, total break from work, 2 settimane all'anno. But you also have to mature, that's what we say, devi maturare le ferie e I permessi. So when you start working, you don't have any, by time that you work. I think like every month you accumulate like 8 hours, let's say. It depends on the contract that you have, but the more you work, the more then you have days off, basically. So in the beginning, you may not have any, but it's also true that people usually try to compromise. Like if you need to have an exam, that's negotiable with the company, if they're human, at least. Then we also have maternità, so maternity leave, which is of 5 months, usually 2 before the delivery date and 3 after the baby is born. But you can choose depending on what you need, like if you have to rest more before the delivery day, or if you feel fine and you want to work till the very end, that's also okay. But you get 5 months minimum. Then if specific cases may have more. Quindi 5 mesi di maternità, 5 mesi di maternità. And you also have il congedo di paternità, so the paternity leave, congedo di paternità, and that's 10 giorni, 10 days. Again, in the 5 months, before and after the delivery date, you can choose when to get them. We also have the sick leave, which is called mutua. So if you're sick, you don't have to use your holidays day, but you do have to have a proper certificate that shows that you are sick, and you get that from your doctor, and it's sent directly to the company so they know. And with that, you have to be at home. So there may be controls with people like coming to your house and be like, are you at home? Are you fine? Okay, cool. Not because they want to check on your health, but because they want to make sure you're not pretending to be sick, right? And then maybe at the Maldives, right? But yeah, that's everything that applies if you work for a company. Otherwise, you can also have the lavoro autonomo, so autonomous labor, let's say, work, and you take care of everything yourself. So you don't have specific days, you just have contracts on projects, let's say, and then you manage your time the way you want, of course. But the reason why I've been talking more about the full-time position is because that's what usually in Italy people want to go for, at least till now. Then nowadays, of course, things are changing, because that allows you to then have loans or mortgage or any way to have a more sure place in the world, or at least that's what people have been telling. And so people look for the contratto indeterminato. Contract indeterminato means that doesn't have an end. So that we're gonna work together forever, technically. So the contratto indeterminato is what it's harder to get, let's say, because some people may start with the internship and then un contratto determinato. So we already know when it finishes, and then you cannot have it like for more than 3 times or 2, like it depends on the level that you're working, but then the company, if they still want to work with you, they have to hire you, okay? So that's a warranty from both sides, because then you can ask for loans, mortgage, anyway, you know that you're gonna have that income every month, and the company also know that you're not gonna quit like from today and tomorrow, because you do have to say it before, and it depends on contracts. But yeah, the contratto indeterminato is what helps both sides, let's say. Also, with the company, you have paid leave and everything I told you before, while if you work on your own, that's up to you. I know that was a lot of information, but I hope I gave you a general idea of what's the working culture in Italy. But if you have any specific questions, feel free to write in the comments and I will check and try to answer if I can help. If you want to keep learning Italian and Italian culture in the fastest, easiest, and most fun way possible, click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account on italianpod101.com. I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Ciao ciao. Bye bye.
Now that you're finished with this lesson, don't forget, as a free bonus, you get over 30 conversation cheat sheets, but only if you sign up via the link in the description. You'll learn how to have flowing conversations and how to answer the most common questions. You can also print out these colorful cheat sheets to keep as physical study material. So don't miss out on this free gift. Click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get your PDF cheat sheets. Wait, before we start, do you want a bundle of 30 printable Italian PDF cheat sheets? Teaching you words and phrases for conversations for free? Then click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get access.
Hello everyone, welcome back to ItalianPod101.com. My name is Daisy, mi chiamo Daisy. And in this video we're gonna talk about the dining etiquette in Italy. L'etichetta a tavola. L'etichetta a tavola. Etiquette, is also what we use to talk about good manners, le buone maniere, a tavola at the dining table. So the dining etiquette. Everything goes back to the Galateo. Galateo is like the Bible in good manners. You may hear a lot, il Galateo dice, secondo il Galateo, so the Galateo says that, accordingly to the Galateo, or non è da Galateo, it's not from the Galateo, or it's not accordingly to the Galateo, blah 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 something. And what is Galateo? So it's a book that dates back to 1558. So you see it has a long tradition. It was written by Giovanni della Casa and it was dedicated to Galeazzo. And you may say, then why Galateo? Because Galateus, is the way of saying to Galeazzo in Latin. Because Galeazzo was the guy who inspired Giovanni to write it. In fact, the full title is Galateo, ovvero de costumi. Costumi as costumes, habits, like how you're supposed to behave. In fact, inside the Galateo, you don't only find good manners for eating or at the dining table, but for life in general. How to introduce yourself, how to walk, how to let people like go before you and stuff like that. But here we're focusing on what you need to do at the table and also what you need to expect on the table, like at a restaurant, for example, or if you're invited as a guest or if you're the host, even more important. So let's see some rules. If you sit down, you want to avere il tovagliolo sulle gambe. Il tovagliolo sulle gambe, so the napkin on your laps. Only use it when you need to. Il cameriere serve il cliente alla sua sinistra. So the waiter serves the dishes to the clients on his left, alla sua sinistra, while he takes plates away from the right. And of course, before serving the next dish, you want everyone to be finished with what they were eating. Quindi aspettare che tutti finiscano il piatto, to wait that everyone finishes the plate, like what they're eating. And how do you know that? Because maybe not everyone wants to eat it all. So you're supposed to put your cutlery on the plate accordingly to if you still want to eat that or if you're done. If you still want to eat some, you put the cutlery on the plate like this, so one on the right and one on the left, like you can still pick them up easily. While if you're done, you put both of them parallel on the right side of the plate. In that way, the waiter or whoever is serving you knows that you're done or that you're still eating. Also, even though you're supposed to find the fork on the left side and the knife on the right one, then when you use them, you actually switch them, right? Because you eat with, if you are right-handed, but you want to cut with your knife on your right hand or anyway, the one you use the most, but only piece by piece. So it means that you don't cut the whole thing into pieces and then you eat them all, but you're supposed to cut one piece, eat it, and then go on like that. So you savor the plate even more. So basically, you're never supposed to bring the coltello, the knife, to your mouth. Coltello, knife, forchetta, fork. Forchetta. Speaking of cutlery, you're supposed to have more than one fork and one knife, depending on how many curries you're getting. Like if you have the entrée, the main meal, and then the second one. So it's one forchetta and coltello per gli antipasti, una forchetta and coltello for the main, quindi per il primo, un coltello e forchetta per il secondo, so usually meat or fish. And then you also have the ones for the dessert, right? But those actually, even if you see them a lot of times on top, you see it in front of you, basically like this, that's not supposed to happen because they should come together with the dessert, not before. And that may be a forchetta or a piccolo cucchiaio, so un cucchiaino, a small spoon. Speaking of what you should put on the table, You should also have un bicchiere per l'acqua, so a glass for the water, but also un bicchiere per il vino, alla destra, on the right of il bicchiere per l'acqua. So you have the glass water, then the wine water, and if you drink red and white, then you have to have 2 glasses, right? And you go on the right. And technically you have the white wine next to the water and the red, while the red is the one on the side. Also, it's bad behavior, so maleducazione, because educazione in general is being well behaved, so maleducazione is when you're not well behaved, so it is bad behavior when you drink without making sure that the people next to you also have to drink. So you always have to check for the bicchiere degli ospiti. Bicchiere degli ospiti. Once everyone has to drink, then you can proceed with drinking, maybe even proposing a toast, but mind you that you're not supposed to actually touch the glasses. So the typical chin-chin that we all do, because this is the etiquette, but then you may see people doing it anyway. So it's supposed to be noiseless. So you just say un brindisi agli sposi, for example, toast to the groom and bride, agli sposi, but you just make like the idea, the gesture, you don't really touch glasses, even though, again, people do that. Something else that people do, even though technically you're not supposed to, is, for example, saying buon appetito. Buon appetito. When you start eating, you say have a good meal or enjoy your meal. Buon appetito. But accordingly to the Galateo, that's not good because you're basically forcing people to eat, or anyway, you're wishing them to have more appetite than what they should. I think this comes from like old times. So nowadays, feel free to say buon appetito. Also, you're not really supposed to eat bread before you're served the main dish or in between courses. So that's also something that you're not supposed to do, but still people do that. Especially if they're really hungry, they have to eat something. So you just eat some bread. But what you have to do with the bread is not directly eat from that, like if you have a small panini, right? But to take just a piece of it and not with the knife, because that may be like dirty, or anyway, it's yours, while you should do that with your hands. Also because you're supposed to have clean hands. So it's fine, and actually it's the etiquette, if you're invited to someone's place, to ask, where's the bathroom? So you can wash your hands before sitting at the table. Now, when you get the bread, actually in restaurants, you're supposed to put that in a small plate that you should have on the left. Not everyone has that, also definitely not at home. So it's fine if you just leave it on the table. But be careful not to turn the bread upside down, because that's also bad luck. So you don't want to put il pane al contrario, but you want to spezzare il pane, to take just a piece of the pane. Speaking of bread, even though this is something that a lot of people do at home, not in restaurants, usually from what I see, but you're not supposed to, is do la scarpetta. The little shoe, that's what we call it. So you take the bread and you gather the sauce that you have left on your plate, like depending on what you ate. But anyway, you don't want to have anything going to waste, right? So you do get it with the bread and then you eat it all together. That's called la scarpetta, fare la scarpetta. And even though you may think that it's a good thing because you show that you really appreciated the food, actually that's not supposed to happen. You should restrain from that. I know it's such a waste, and that's why people at home do what they want. But if you're at a fancy dinner, yeah, maybe avoid that. Another thing that you're not technically supposed to do, but people do it anyway, is soffiare sul cibo. Like, also, of course, never, ever, ever cut the pasta. Questo è solo per I bambini. That's only for kids. And also helping yourself with the spoon, like when you eat spaghetti. That's, yeah, a big no. Like, you're not supposed to help yourself with the spoon, with the fork, blah, 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 no. Also, the fork, when you get spaghetti, should never be really, like, vertical on the plate, but always a bit tilt. But, yeah, I mean, these are general rules. Then everyone can do what they want. But dining etiquette says that you just have to use la forchetta per gli spaghetti. as you're not supposed to soffiare sul cibo, so to make noise, basically, you're also not supposed to make any noise when you eat the soup. So the thing, no. And also you should not do the cling cling when you use the spoon with your plate, like, you know, when you're trying to get everything from the bottom. But you can move the plate with your hand to help you spoon what's inside. That's fine. But you're not supposed to make any noise. You're not supposed to put I gomiti sul tavolo. So your elbows should not go on the table. So you should not stay like this on the table. Another thing you may want to be careful with is when you pour wine or anything else from a bottle, you want to make sure that no drops falls, and that's hard to do. You're supposed to twist the bottle at the end so that no drop falls, but also then don't make it like pour on people. It's a whole technique. So yeah, this may seem like a lot, but actually they are just rules, and you don't really have to think too much about it, because what you find on the table you use, basically, and you always start from the side. So the most external part, that's the cutlery that you want to use, and then you move into the middle close to the plate. Fancy restaurants are gonna kind of hint that to you anyway, because they change the glass as well, and they may bring a different wine for example, dessert, and that also has a different glass. So you're not the one supposed to figure things out, you just enjoy your dinner. My personal tip would be copy people that are with you. So you try not to be the first one. But if you have to, maybe, check the Galateo here and there. But also just enjoy, because eating is such a pleasure of life, especially if you're in Italy. So don't worry too much, just enjoy. You know that we like to move our hands a lot and anyway have fun, so we wouldn't mind too much, okay? Lastly, something that you should already know is you don't have cappuccino after your meal, okay? You just have a coffee, but I'm sure you know by now. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any specific questions, just let me know in the comments. And if you want to keep learning Italian in the fastest, easiest, and most fun way possible, remember to click the link in the description, download our PDF lessons, and sign up for your free lifetime account on ItalianPod101.com. I'll see you soon. Ciao ciao. Bye bye.
Now that you're finished with this lesson, don't forget, as a free bonus, you get over 30 conversation cheat sheets, but only if you sign up via the link in the description. You'll learn how to have flowing conversations and how to answer the most common questions. You can also print out these colorful cheat sheets to keep as physical study material. So don't miss out on this free gift. Click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get your PDF cheat sheets.
Access your free language gifts right now before they expire. First, can you talk about how you're feeling in your target language? Get our new Feelings Conversation PDF cheat sheet right now and master over 40 words and phrases inside. Second, the Autumn Vocab PDF Writing Workbook. With this printable PDF, you'll learn all the must-know autumn words and phrases, and you'll be able to practice writing the phrases out as well. Download it for free right now. Third, can you talk about Halloween in your target language? With this quick 1-minute lesson, you'll learn must-know Halloween words like vampire, trick-or-treat, and more. Fourth, what are you afraid of? Public speaking? Spiders? Rejection? With this new Phrases to Express Your Fears lesson, you'll be able to talk about what you're afraid of in your target language. And fifth, looking for a new language learning app? With the innovative language learning app, you learn language.
Great work. Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.